Where was America's chief executive while hope of a supercommittee deal withered away on Capitol Hill? Was essentially radio silence out of the White House.
The president who promised us transparency is nowhere to be found.
West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin came out. He's a Democrat, and he criticized the president, saying, we want him to step forward. We want to see him take leadership.
He's the leader of this great country, and we want him to step forward.
Today in America, we have a leadership problem.
And I think it's very difficult for the Democrats on that committee to enter into a negotiation not knowing where the White House is.
The commander-in-chief is absent from battle.
If I could say one thing to Barack Obama, is stop showing us how smart you are and lead us. Ask us to do something. Pull us behind you. Enlist us in the service of our country. Ask us to do something.
Republicans on the Supercommittee did come forward with their plan to do some form of tax reform, close some loopholes, reduce or eliminate some deductions. You would have had more revenue coming in, about $300 billion. The Democrats said no.
The so-called Toomey plan, which Republicans, all six of us, offered to the Democrats, would specifically have raised tax revenues. It would have raised $250 billion more than the tax reform that would be necessary to reduce the rates, and would have applied that to deficit reduction.
On the other side, there was an insistence that we have $1 trillion tax increase. There was an unwillingness to cut any kind of spending at all, unless there was a huge tax increase.
So they wanted $1 trillion in tax increases and never budged from that.
This is really a big debate about the role and the size of the government and its relationship to us as individuals.
Most of us would rather see revenue increases by reforming the tax code.
The Bowles-Simpson Commission, the Gang of Six, and frankly, every group that has analyzed this has said that we need to reform our tax code.
We are willing to close those loopholes, but we want it to be part of tax reform, which lowers tax rates.
Our problem isn't that we're taxed too little, Lou. It's that we spend too much.
We have a spending problem.
The problem is that we are spending too much money.
What we're talking about here is let's continue to spend and take more from hardworking, tax-paying Americans so we can keep our spending addiction going here in Washington.
We've got to put together a plan to reduce the deficit and the debt, and that means not only tax reform, entitlement reform, finding savings, but all of these things.
What are we trying to do in this administration? Why does he want a second term? Would he tell us? What's he going to do in his second term? More of this? Is this it? Is this as good as it gets?